Well, I was working on an upcoming analysis video on Project Renee when the news dropped about another early access delay for Life by You. Unlike the loyal fan that I am, I dropped everything to try and get this video out to you guys. But don't worry, I'll cover my analysis on Project Renee at a later time, and who knows, maybe this is really meant to be. But for now, I want to cover the recent news of the Life by You early access version being delayed for the second time now. Now, for those of you just joining my channel and just discovering my channel, my name is Michael, and I want to welcome you to Sovereign Gaming in Life Sims, the YouTube channel where I build worlds, lots, and share my thoughts on video games in the life simulation gaming space. Now, when Life by You was first announced, players were promised the original early access date release being in September of 2023. Then in August, the Life by You team informed us that they were going to delay the early access release to March of 2024. Well, here we are in the first week of February with news that the early access version of Life by You will be delayed yet again for June of 2024. And how do I feel about this? Well, I can't say that I'm all that surprised, to be honest. And no, this isn't coming from a place of pessimism. I'm just fully aware that early access versions of games rarely get released on time, and that delays like this are unfortunately the norm for an early access game. And this is a big reason why I changed my channel to feature more content from games that I enjoy, and in this case it is The Sims 3. In the video announcement, Rod Humble explained that they want more time to work on character design, animations, fixing bugs, and refining a lot of gameplay features. All of these are legitimate reasons to delay a public early access release, since the gameplay experience in of itself needs to be enjoyable for the players, and they detail it a little further in their announcement blog that you can check out yourself. Although I'm personally unbothered by the delay, since I have changed this channel's content after the first delay announcement, and I have really been satisfying my own urges to play a life simulation game with The Sims 3, I just can't help but notice a pattern developing here. Truth be told, I kind of had a sneaking suspicion that there would be another delay for Life by You, because it felt like there was too much content to cover when it came to educating the players on the gaming experience that they can expect. And I feel that this suspicion of mine was really confirmed when reading the blog, as they mentioned that they will be covering events, jobs, and the elusive phone in more development updates as the weeks go by. But it wasn't just the need to educate the public that had me suspect that they were going to do a delay. It was really just some of the playthroughs that we were seeing. With the recent gameplay footage that we have been shown in the last few weeks, I have been questioning in the back of my mind whether or not the footage that we see would lead to enjoyable gameplay for the average player. And my conclusion to that has kind of been a no, unless they were looking to release an early access version that very much played like it was being tested for glitches and bugs. And that would have gone against the messaging that the team has been sending us, in that they are looking to make the early access version of the game enjoyable in its own right. So that suspicion was certainly there. Combine that with the other fact that I just kind of feel like we needed to be educated more on what the gaming experience will be as it relates to jobs specifically, which has always been something that I've mentioned. And we also need to learn more about events and all that. Yeah, I was kind of suspicious that this would happen again. So with this change in date comes a couple of other changes as it corresponds to the Life by You early access experience. And I feel that some of these changes are important to discuss. And yes, even though Rod Humble did speak about them, I'm also going to choose to quote from the blog that went along with this update, since it helps to put their words right in front of you. And I'm more than happy to just grab a couple of screenshots from the website and all that. So I think that the first major change to discuss for us should really be that they have decided not to re-enable pre-orders for Epic Games, and that players can now wishlist it on Steam and Epic Games. When I first heard of Life by You, I actually created an account on Epic Games completely dedicated to just getting access to the early access version of Life by You. Now, I'm not feeling like I've been burned or anything, since I can always deactivate my account with Epic Games and uninstall the platform, So to me, it's like not really a big deal. It just takes a couple of seconds to do all of that. But I know that a lot of players have actually registered with Epic Games just for this reason alone. And even though I'm not bothered by them changing the pre-order experience and how to access it, that's really only because that I understand that these things can change at a moment's notice, especially when a video game is in such early development. And yeah, it could bother other players, and to that I say, like, yes, I hear you, I see you, and it kind of sucks. And it does also kind of, feel reminiscent of needing to have an additional software program to run a game. Hence why Origin existed, or the EA app existed for us to play The Sims. So I kind of see a little bit of I kind of see that here. I wouldn't necessarily call it a red flag, but I would just kind of keep my eye on it just to see if that is going to be the route that they end up taking. The next major change that I actually do want to discuss, though, is the credentials for the early access Discord, where to be eligible, you actually have to do a couple of things according to the website. One, you need to be signed up for the mailing list. And then two, once the game is in early access, the Life by You team will open up the Discord to members of the community who have purchased the game through Steam or Epic. Now, I can predict already that the early access Discord will be chaotic if absolutely everyone gets in. I think that it could be easy to lose control over that community, but hey, I'm happy to be wrong if that is the case, and we all are really looking forward to the early access Discord when the time comes. The other interesting piece of information that I found in there as well, and I could be very premature in analyzing this, so I do apologize if I am wrong, but they mentioned that they will open it up to those who have purchased the game through Steam or Epic. And to me, this kind of verbiage suggests that early access may now be available through Steam when the time comes, but that's just a speculation, so please don't hold my feet to the fire on that one. I'm speculating just based on the language that they're using. I would rather let some time pass anyways, just to hear more details as we get closer to the June 5th early access release date, since that could very well change. But they are mentioning Steam, and I don't think that was an accident. Editor Michael just jumping in here because there was something that I said that was completely wrong. And I guess when I was recording the video and doing my research, when I had mentioned that I would allow some time to pass, apparently all the time that I needed to let pass was a couple of hours when I would review the blog while I am editing the video. So I do apologize for breaking up the pace here, but what I just said was completely wrong. And how I can support that is actually just with this screenshot that I'm going to put up from the website. And the question that was posed on here is asking what platforms would be available for the early access version. And they say quite plainly in black and white in English that early access will be available on the Epic Games Store and on Steam. So when I was analyzing the language earlier, apparently all I really needed to do was scroll down on this blog. I have no idea how I managed to miss this when I was doing the research. I honestly think that my coffee might not have kicked in, but at the time that I am recording and editing this episode, I am kind of doing a little bit of a rush job, which makes me a little bit nervous about publishing it, but whatever, I caught this mistake, which would have been huge if I had missed it. So I am thankful for catching that at the time that I am doing it. But yeah, this is actually quite significant, and to me this is huge in terms of having in terms of like improving the accessibility of the early access version of Life by You, and putting it on both like the Epic Games Store and on Steam is something that I think is absolutely wonderful. I love the fact that they are going to do that, and you know, like I had mentioned before, I had never signed up for the Epic Games Store until Life by You was announced, and I signed up purely to purchase the early access version at that time. So I'm very excited that now it seems like they are going to be pursuing access, or well, they're going to be pursuing making the early access Life by You game available on Steam as well. So very excited for that. I think it does a whole lot for accessibility, and I honestly think that it's going to improve the gaming experience as well, because I do know that there are some people out there that had some hangups about signing on to like the Epic Game Store just to purchase the early access version of this one game. And honestly, they have a point, and I absolutely think that their point is valid, and they have a valid reason not to sign up for something that they really don't want to at the end of the day. So yeah, making it available on Steam I think was a really wise move, and I'm really excited to see where it goes next for the rest of this early access journey that we're going to be taking with the Life by You team. So yeah, I just wanted to pop in here and just quickly correct myself before I am roasted in the comments. Thank you again for your patience, and let's continue on. Another important message from the blog was in regards to there being a possibility for another delay. This is actually one of the things from the blog that I do want to read out to you verbatim, since I feel that the language again being used is very intentional and I want to emphasize it. So it reads as the following. The second shift is a direct result of feedback from not only you all who watch our videos, but also from some of the creators who have had a chance to play through Life by You recently. Now that we have direct hands-on feedback from a group of passionate Life Sim players, we know we have a few things to address before we can enter early access. While we feel confident that another change will not happen, we also know that no one can guarantee that promise. Quality and your satisfaction is our top concern, and we hope to continue to make decisions that prioritize that. We currently have a very specific scoped list of improvements, and we feel good about the time frame we have to complete these improvements. Again, there is a couple of things very interesting about the specific language that they're using. But the most important part of the message that I took away from it is that they can't guarantee that a third delay won't happen. In the last few weeks, I have been emphasizing in my Life by You videos that the gameplay we are being shown is from an early access version of the full game that players will eventually get. And a big reason why I have chosen to emphasize the early access aspect so much is that truly nearly nothing can be promised at this stage in a video game's development, especially when it comes to timelines. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely think that the Life by You team has been transparent as possible when it comes to sharing where they are at with the Life by You's development, but the fact remains that promising release dates for an early access version of a product proves to be a fickle thing across all genres in the video game industry. And for that reason alone, a lot of developers choose not to do public early access versions. Moving on from the blog and the video, like when looking at the general community response, like on their videos and all that, it looks to be overall like a very positive response. Yeah, it's a bummer that the early access version has been delayed yet again, but I think that the majority of the community really views this as the Life by You team really learning the lessons from other video games that choose to release early instead of delaying their own releases. And that the cost and payoff ratio for delaying the release of the early access version of Life by You would likely have been determined to be more beneficial than releasing an early access version only to have the entire internet really make it into a meme, even though you have been educating the mass public that it is in fact an early access version. Like, I see that logic, I see where they're coming from, and I think that the community is honestly like on their side when it comes to delaying the early access version. Besides, like, life simulation players have experienced rushed games in the past, and those rushed games have punished companies for decades, and punished players too, if I'm going to be honest. And I'm not going to name any names here, but the comment section is certainly open if you'd like to chime in on that. At the end of this announcement, I'm really not bothered by it, since I have been playing The Sims 3 and I enjoy that game immensely, especially building my own world for you guys. I mean, I know it sucks that the delay came through again, and you know, the life simulation choices out there aren't a whole lot of choices out there. The choices are growing, but it's still a genre that has been overtaken by The Sims. So it's like you really, your choices are very limited, is really what I'm trying to say. And so, like, if you haven't found a life simulation game that you yourself are playing, this is probably going to hit a lot harder than for other players. And so, I do feel sorry for you guys there. But I do see like how Life by You is moving some pieces around to give themselves more breathing room, like namely changing the criteria for the early access so that it is more flexible, and now leaving some flexibility to talk about Life by You being available on Steam now. So they've kind of given themselves that kind of breathing room to really pivot and move into whatever early access experience makes most sense for their players and all that. So I think that's really good. I see those pieces moving, and I'll be here to watch and share my thoughts on all of those pieces moving up until the early access release in June of 2024, and I'll share those thoughts with you guys in videos like this. But what I really want to do now is I want to know what you guys have to think about the second Life by You early access delay. Do you feel like there is a lot of energy for an early access version of a game? Are you fine with there being no promise about a third delay happening? Or are you happy with just kind of going with the flow at this point? Feel free to drop your comments down below in the comment section. I just only kindly ask that you are respectful. And until next time, I just want to thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, then feel free to like this video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you again, and I hope you have yourselves a wonderful day.